Hello everyone and welcome to Career Talks by Counsel Co, the place where your dreams and aspirations meet reality. This platform is specially designed so that the young and budding generation can understand from the experts in their particular fields what is the reality when you embark on a career, what are the skills that you need and what do you need to aspire for. Not only that, but we even have young students who have just embarked on their careers, sharing their advice, experiences, and realities of actual work-life balance. So today, we have for you Arth Ghiya, a young and budding lawyer, who is here to share his journey with us.
Thank you for that lovely introduction. Thank you.
Yeah. So Arth, I'm sure before we begin, everybody would like to know a little about you and what made you choose law as a career.
So basically, my name is Arth Ghiya. I'm a first generation lawyer. I've always thought that at some point in life, you have to give it back to the community, you have to give it back to the society. So taking that into consideration, law as a field, as a career, as an option, has always been what I would like rather to use as a tool to give it back to the society. So this is my essential, you can say it is my essential dream, my goal to become a good lawyer and to give it back to the society so that I can say that I have been successful in my life. So.
That's a lovely ideology, Arth, and I truly appreciate that. Yes. There are two things that actually stood out for me in your entire conversation is that you are a first generation lawyer,
yes,
right? And your need to give back to the society.
Correct.
So law traditionally is believed that, usually there is a firm and then the kids join their parents, and it's a very traditional kind of a setup that is there, which I'm sure is breaking now. But as a first generation lawyer, are there any particular challenges that you faced when you embarked on this?
So as a first generation lawyer, the biggest hurdle that I faced was not having a roadmap to follow.
Okay.
And insufficient guidance as to how to navigate in this field. Some few other hurdles were like I was not aware of the unwritten rules, which were how to network, how to build a good contact, and how to navigate the job market.
Okay.
But knowing how things are right now, there is always a lot of demand for lawyers in every different field that law has to offer. That includes litigation, that includes in-house jobs, and that also includes law firms. So essentially there have been a lot of challenges, but it's very easy to navigate now of all times. Like you said, rightly said, that traditionally there was a step plan to follow, but now there isn't such a thing anymore because there is so much demand as well as there is so much supply that you can ensure that you get into like the designated place you want to be at. So it's actually hard work, talent and network that can get you there.
Okay, so listening to you, I heard mention of a lot of different skills rather than just the academic profile or the amount of hard work you put in to get a law degree. So I would just like you to share with us that if one aspires to be a lawyer, what are a few skill sets that they need to develop early on? And when you say that the field has become really big, right, and it's ever expanding, what is the sort of demand that's there?
So in this ever evolving landscape of law, it is very essential in your formative years to build a liking towards law. Because most of the students right now, they're either into the field because they have their parents in the field or out of peer pressure. It's not necessary that people understand, or rather students understand why they should do law. So you need certain answers before you start looking at law as a career. So if you've already selected law as a career, you would rather think about why you want to do it. You would think about what do you want to pursue in law, because law as a field is enormous. There is a lot of things to law. It is national, it is international, it is domestic, it's everywhere. So it's very essential to understand where do you see yourself in the next 10 years. 5 years would be very short because law as a field you require a lot of perseverance and persistence to keep doing what you're doing. Like we usually, like the word usually goes that we burn out, that there is a lot of mental fatigue, there is a lot of physical fatigue. All of that is true in this law field. So it's very essential, whether you like it or not, it is very essential to know what does it have to offer to you and what do you have to offer to this field. So once you are through that, I think you will find what you want to do in this field, or else you know that it is not cut out for you. So it's as simple as that.
Okay, so traditionally what all of us know law is to be either litigation, we know the small cause courts and we see all the black courts outside the court, and we believe that it might be a bit of struggle, or there is corporate law that we all know that is on a rise. But I'm sure there are other specializations also in law, and now with the changing scenario, the tech, AI, everything. So I think the whole comprehension of law and the need for rules and regulations has really become very vast.
That is certainly the case at the moment, because if you see right now, the biggest thing or the biggest, you can say development in the field of law is where there is data breach, there is data privacy issues. So for that, you have to be up to date with the cyber security laws. Currently, with the rise of AI, it is very important, like it is very, very important to know your intellectual property laws as well. So if you see for now, at the moment, if you want to take a career or choose a career in law, which you know will reap you benefits in the immediate future, it has to be something to do with intellectual property laws, cyber security laws, fintech laws is something that has come up recently.
Okay.
So all of these three fields are always a go-to field, and especially in addition to all of this, corporate law is never out of the trend, it is never out of demand, it is always evolving with simpler like transactions that can happen between different countries, different companies in different countries. It is ever evolving now. You should definitely consider a career in all of these. But apart from that, like you rightly said, the traditional law courts also have a lot to offer nowadays because of the new codes that have come up. Like there is NCLT, there are DRTs, which are debt recovery tribunals, national company law tribunals. So it is not just the traditional law courts which are functioning at the moment, but it is these different types of courts which have a lot to offer to the society, to the lawyers, to professionals, and to the people who are in need of legal care and attention. So now at the moment, it's not just the traditional courts, it's not just the lawyers in the black and white coats and everything, black and white suits and everything, but it's a lot other than that also. Like in-house roles have been on the rise, because people now feel that rather than going every time to a specialized law firm, why not have a specialized law person in your own firm? So that has also helped a lot of law firms, and that has also helped a lot of legal professionals as well as companies to overcome this difficulty.
Okay, great. So previously you mentioned one thing, that you would rather people have something developed in their formative years.
Correct.
Right? So when you say formative years, are you referring to just during college or much before that? On what kind of skills are you referring to?
So majorly I was referring to during your college years, because in India at least, prior to your college years, you are very young to understand what the law field has to offer. So at least during your years of study and your education, you need to get involved in things like moot court competitions, mock trials, mock mediations and negotiations, to understand where exactly is your interest lying in this field of law. Because all of this helps you to develop a lot of skills such as leadership, such as team building, such as communication, and to top it all off, it also has to do a lot with soft skills, your confidence, your public speaking skills. So when someone who is good at public speaking, has good soft skills, may consider a career in litigation, where your face front is more towards the judges, towards the people, towards the other advocates, and it's not just towards your peers who are working with you. Whereas if you feel that you're more made for something like negotiations or mediations, that is what the upcoming law firms and the firms that have been in practice for most part of my life at least, they do that negotiations, mediations, conciliations between parties, between lawyers, that's what they focus on. So it's very necessary, essential to understand, and not just this, even the like building legal blogs, publishing legal articles is what can make you understand whether you want to go into that side of the law as well, where you publish research papers and stuff, which helps the society at large. That being said, every field that you choose in law will eventually give something back to the community or the society, whether it's through education, whether it's through public service, whether it's through public interest litigations, which we call as PIL, which is for the interest of a large number of people. So in one way or the other, it has something to give back to the society. So that's what I essentially look forward to.
Okay, so Arth, while listening to you and understanding from you how important it is to develop skills, not only during your college years, but I think something like debating, public speaking will also help you during your college years to come forward, right? How important are internships when you enroll for the course, and what does one do if they do not have any influence to get internships? Because I believe that internships are difficult to get.
That is certainly the case in this law field. So essentially, internships are the most crucial part of your journey towards becoming a lawyer during your formative years when you're in college, as well as after that. So basically, internships help to make you understand what the law field is entirely about. It gives you a hand-on experience. It gives you the practical knowledge that is required to enter this law field. That being said, it is very, very difficult to get internships if you don't have connections. But at the same time, knowing your peers, connecting with them, connecting with your professors, being in good touch with your professors can always help you to land a good internship at all times, because it is very important. Like I started, connections, network building is very important in this field and in most other fields today. So basically, in this law field, you have to maintain good relationships with people you may like, with people you may not like. That is just how life is, but that is also how law is. Perseverance, persistence, all of that has to be there. Hard work has to be there. Talent has to be there. But that cannot always beat what you can build through contacts, through relationships, and through personal life experiences. That being said, internships are definitely a thing that every budding professional, every budding aspiring lawyer or a law student has to ensure that they do that, because without internships, real life experience will never be achieved by that person, and what is there in the books is not necessarily what is there in law. So practical experience is very essential, which can only be understood through internships. So internships, articleships, judicial clerkships, all of them play a tremendous role in understanding the field and being introduced to the field more so.
Okay, great. So I think your advice to all of the new people who are aspiring to be lawyers is go out there, make contacts, build up your internships, build up your real life experiences, and continuously learn on the job, right?
Yes.
Yeah. As you said that, many people find this environment very stressful. For example, when you have long hours of working, you have to work with people that you don't even like.
That's true.
And that does take a toll on a person, as you said, the mental and physical fatigue. So keeping that in mind, how do you cope up, and what advice would you like to give the viewers as to how they can develop techniques that will help them cope up if they enter into this high pressure field?
So me being me, I try to set boundaries at my workplace. I give time to my mental health, my physical health. I give time to the people I like. I give time to my family. I give time to my peers as well as to my friends.
Okay. So I think what we take away from here is you create your own value. Coming down to that, now basically a lot of people go abroad and study law, and they come here and they would like to practice here, because India, as all of us know, is an emerging market. It
Correct.
is ever growing, especially right now.
Yes.
So having said that, do you think that doing law in India would be better if you want to pursue it here, or it is better that you go abroad, learn and come back?
For me, certainly learning in India and working in India is what should be your goal. Okay. Because as I have learnt from a lot of my seniors as well as my peers who are out of the country right now at the moment, they are pursuing, say, masters in law or some other field, some other certificate courses or diploma. but it has not much to offer once you're back in this country in India. It does not have to offer a lot. Rather, when you're starting your law journey, if you're sure that you want to practice law in India and not outside, you rather start in India and you stop in India. Because once you've started your law journey here, laws across nations are very different. There is no, say, per se common thing between law in different countries, not even between India and UK, from which we have derived most of our law. So it becomes very difficult for someone who has learnt law outside India to come to India and practice law, essentially because of a lot of networking issues firstly, and secondly there are a lot of barriers. So mostly when you go to lower courts, say, most lawyers there or most judges there do not even speak in English. It becomes very difficult for someone who has a language barrier as well as the procedural barrier as to how things happen in an actual court of law to understand these things. That being said, probably in-house roles are more suited for people coming from outside India, or say corporate law firms, because they have this dynamic structure where they have international clients as well as national clients. So they would be better suited to serve the international clients once they're back in India. But that being said, if you're sure you want to work in India only and not outside India, you'd rather start your law journey from within India so that it's simpler for you to go up the ladder. So that's it.
Oh, that's great, and that is insightful because you generally believe that the world is becoming smaller and globalization. Okay, so one thing that I would like to know from you is that, we always hear success stories.
Correct.
We always see that, oh, this person has reached this particular point, but we do not know how difficult the road is to that success. So if somebody wants to be a very good lawyer, and they have something they have in mind, or even set up their own practice for the mind, would you say that working with somebody for a duration of time would be a better way to embark on this journey?
Definitely and certainly, because of the simple reason that, like any other career, you have to give this career a lot of years. What you learn in your law schools, the education is very different from what is there in personal life, practical life, private life, everything. Because education can offer you what you need to know, but law internships, law jobs, they can make you understand where you have to be with the law. Whether you're looking at it as a career, whether you're looking at it as you need to do it for providing for something. So it becomes very essential to understand how to go about this dilemma of whether I am doing it as a job or I am doing it to ensure that I create or I become rather my own employer. So it becomes very difficult firstly for people who have just started in this education, in this field, to understand whether they want to pursue it as just a job person, whether they want to be the employer, they want to be that boss, they want to have those clients, and they want to, build that network of people where they are going to be flying here and there from different cities, or whether they want to do that job role only. So it's very difficult to firstly understand this, and once you are at good terms with whether you want to just do a job or you want to be your own employer, only after you know the answer to that can you understand, after that is also probably after 10 years into the field, that you understand whether you want to become, like, you want to stay a lawyer or you want to become an in-house person where you're just majorly trying to build a team and letting them know what they're supposed to do rather than doing that work yourself. So you have to give the field a lot of years to understand firstly where you want to be in the field. So yes.
Okay, great. So I have one question, and I think this question is going to be there in everybody's mind. Many people say that if you have a problem, just put it in AI and it will give you the entire solution.
Correct.
Could be even for a legal method or
That's
legal
true.
procedure.
That's true.
So yes, I am not saying that we can deny that AI exists, but as a lawyer, do you feel that AI will take over the field, or do you think that people have to learn to use it the right way to make their work easy?
I think AI is an addition to our essentially to our resumes rather than just any field we are working in. But we need to understand that artificial intelligence is not the real intelligence in the sense of the word, because what people can offer to other people is something that AI will never be able to understand in the first case. It does not have feelings, it does not have emotions. That is what people have. We should use it as a tool rather than allowing AI to use us as a tool. We can depend on it, but we need not essentially be so dependent that it lets us take over. Basically, AI should help you assist with your work. You can use it, you can assist, you can require assistance with that, you can depend on it, but it is as not as dependable as any other person working in this field. AI is emerging, AI is developing, AI is still in the process of development, but people over the years have developed, they have matured in this field, and a lot of times, like I can say, at least for India, it will not know everything that this field has to offer, starting from what the traditional law courts are, how things work in there, how it is supposed to work in there, what is the practical experience that we can get out of working in that places, something that AI will not be able to answer when you're actually down and drafting the documents, drafting the contracts, putting in those long working hours. It can definitely ease your work, but it cannot do your work. That is what I see.
Okay. So what we understand after speaking with Mr. Arth Ghiya is that law is also a very demanding field. You need to have your own individuality. You need to have a strong skill set if you need to succeed. And most importantly, you need to know yourself and you need to know your purpose before you think about being a lawyer. Also, AI will aid you, it's not supposed to replace you. So I would like to thank you, Arth, for being here with us and sharing all your insights. I'm sure it's going to be very helpful to the budding lawyers. At the same time, I hope that our audience now has a better and clearer idea as to what it takes to succeed in the field of law. We wish you all the best, Arth, and everybody can stay tuned for more such growth-inspired stories and success stories with us. Thank you so much.